Yeah, yeah. Even even my expandable ones, after 3 or 4 months, one of my monitors on that went out. I can't get it to work, so I just use one of them. So it's China made. Yeah, China made bullshit. Something's always gonna break. Oh, uh, uh, yeah, yeah. So getting the bot set up on all these different charts is a little bit takes a little longer in the morning. Well, I've got one account set up for uh in NQ and ES, since they kind of follow each other. Then I'm trading another account on YM and trading another account on Russell. So I mean, I won't take a trade on, every account. It's just I want to be able to have I want to yeah, I just want to have the opportunity to trade another account if I see something on another chart. Yep. Mm, right. Yeah. I got to get that bar counter on Ninja. I'll do that out later. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. We're too close to the open. Ooh. Yeah. Mm. I forgot ETF. If you hit the daily max loss, it closes the account, even though it's not max loss. So I blew one of those accounts. Yeah. No. When you're forcing yourself to trade, not gonna, you ain't gonna get all of them. Yeah, we haven't been able to get any narrow states at the open here for a little while. And NQ's looking pretty good on the higher time frame for a narrow state. Yes. Oh yeah. Hmm. NQ's looking like it could get up to that 6 minutes. Get up to that 6 minute 200 and stay up there for a minute. Everything could line up on that for a little flush down. Mhm. Yeah, I would really, really love to be able to at least turn if I can't take them off the charts, I would love to be able to turn the opacity of all the labels completely down where I don't have to see them on the chart. Yeah, I mean, I don't need them. Once price does what I need it to do, and I turn my bot on, I don't need to see the labels as long as the bot sees them. Well, yeah. Well, you can turn the background opacity on the master labels off, but you can't turn the text or the border off. But I would just like to be able to just not have the labels on the chart at all because I don't need to see them. If price is set up to and it's doing what I want it to do, and I turn the bot on, I just want the bot to be able to trade it. I don't need to see them. It gets for me, yeah, because for me, I'm still looking even on like the 2 minute chart. I want to be able to see fair value gaps that are being made because I'm using regular minute candles. And if I can't see that because all the signals are getting in my way, then I might miss an exit or a time to turn the bot on because I can't see my ICT structure on the chart. And that's going to be the same for, yeah. And I haven't on my top charts. So I've got Riptide running on everything. My bottom charts, you can't even see the background. And I'll be setting the top charts up like that too, because I don't need to see the background. I know that the color change on the candles indicates a color change on the background. Yeah. So I don't need the background. There's a lot of, but I can change that. I just can't change those damn labels, and they get in my way from seeing like 2 minute fair value gaps in order box because there's so much of it on there. The, well, I mean, there is a workaround. I could just put the offset so high that they don't even show up on the chart, you know. But yeah, as long as the yeah, he he showed he showed me the way that thing, all those settings in it when it was the original one before he cleaned it all up. I was like, damn, that's nuts. Nobody would be able to deal with that. Mm, yeah, NQ and ES are going up. YM and Russell are, well, YM's kind of steady. Russell's going down. YM just fi finally hit the all-time highs a couple days ago, so I expect to pull back on that anyway. Mm, yeah. There goes YM to the downside. Ooh. Go ahead and turn on YM here for shorts. See if we can't get a little bit of a continuation. Mm, Right. Let's see if we get a little continuation here on YM. Yes, hit the daily pivot point. I was having a little trouble getting above it. Oh, yeah, we got a well on ES. It's right at the pivot point now. I was having trouble getting above it on so far, which, which should be which would be nice since we are at the daily pivot on ES. If ES and NQ can turn around and pull back at this point, it's going to help the Dow and Russell keep moving. Which we're about to get a signal on the YM, which I'll be short on because we got below one of the pivot points on YM. Let's see if it'll. Looks like it's possibly going to fair value gap through that pivot point on the 9 minute. Yeah. Right. Hmm. Yeah. We are short on YM. Um, it did not set my brackets. Shit. Maximum order quantity has been met. Please change your order quantity to place the order. The fuck do you mean maximum order quantity? I'm only in 3. And it didn't set my brackets. Yeah, I'll be on. Alright, alright. What the fuck? I gotta find out why this isn't working. Well, we made $300 on that trade, but the bot did not set up my brackets, so I'm gonna have to double check all my bots. I just had to hit the close on the chart trader, which also turned off the strategy when I did that. So, let's take a look. Why did it not set up on YM? Oh, that's why. Son of a bitch. Okay. No wonder. Fuck. Uh, how to get 2 there, 1 there. Jeez, Louise. All right. I'm glad we made money though. That's all that matters. Okay. I had settings for micros on YM in the bot. So I was taking 10 micros instead of minis and not allowed to take that many micros on a 50 or that many minis on a 50K account. So I need to go. Actually, I probably should do that because that's why we made $300. We were in 3 minis instead of 10 micros. So let's move over to MYM micros. MYM there. Let that calculate and load. And NQ kind of fell off from getting a good setup there. Oh, RTY is getting pretty good down towards the bottom. We need to be down there for a few minutes to let everything flatten out down there on these stochastics before we look at reversals there. Oh, don't tell me you're going to do this to me. YM chart's going to lock up. Oh, let's see if it'll come back into play there. So the strategy doesn't show that I made money, but when we look at the accounts, we can see that I made money there. $303 on the morning for that. I like that. I get some of our losses back on that account because we were in a drawdown. I may have to reset my MYM chart here. I really don't want to have to do. Yeah, I can't even close it when it's locked up. Fuck. Oh, I should have shut the strategies off on that before I changed the chart. That's the problem. That is the problem. Which, I mean, if we don't take another trade on YM is fine. Since we've made money on YM, I can focus on NQ and ES. See if we can get a good setup on those. It's who's in here this morning? Hey, Dean and Sam. Oh, I'll probably do expect a couple of mistakes today just because this is the first time I have set up my charts like this. Oh, we got our momentum trade on YM. That's all that was. It's basically my SMA. My SMAs were all uh, lined up for shorts. We broke through the pivot point with some strength, and so we took that trade there, paid money. Now YM's locked up because I forgot to turn the strategies off, but it was a good trade. Ooh. YM and RTY seem like to be acting about the same. RTY made a fair value gap through pivot point and is now trying to break back above, same as YM. So it looks like we got two markets headed in one direction and two markets headed in the other for the moment. We're getting some wicks, sell wicks on NQ and YM on the higher time frames, which isn't allowing our stochastics to get into a position where we might look for a reversal yet. ES looks like it's going to finally break through that pivot point, at least for the moment. That may get us up there around the 10 o'clock reversal time. If the stochastics are set up at that point, we've got about 12 more minutes to get there. Then we may be looking for the 10 o'clock reversal on one of those guys. Um, let's see. Let's see if we disconnect. Yes, I want to disconnect my Tradeify and then see if I can't reconnect it. Connections, hello. Oh, don't tell me my entire platform's going to be locked up because of that bullshit. Let's see. Okay, I can still work the buy. It's just everything else that's going to be fucked up. Oh, this is bullshit. That's bullshit. I can't even scroll the motherfucker. I really don't want to have to turn this off and turn it back on. Reboot Ninja. So we'll watch for a minute and see. Oh, if we can get that 10 o'clock reversal on ES or NQ without having to mess with anything else on Ninja. If not, like you said, we made $300 this morning. We can just shut it down and reboot it. All right, so we've broken through the 200 SMA on ES and NQ's 6-minute charts. It's been all up candles on the 6-minute chart since the open. What are we going to run into up there? Got some liquidity there. We've got a resistance level at 947 on the NQ. Got that resistance 67.41 even on the ES for resistance. Okay. The Russell has turned around and now went and taken out the previous swing high. So the Dow may do the same. Looks like we're going to fair value. We may very well fair value gap through the 200 on the ES. And this would also be if we close higher the first fair value gap made on NQ from the open, higher time frame. So showing a little bit of strength in the markets. But nothing is setting up to see our first little pullback yet, or at least not setting up good enough for me to be able to take a trade on the pullback. But we will. Hopefully. Stay patient and wait for time and price to align. We got 7 more minutes to 10 o'clock. So let's see. 10:30 will be the setting of our initial balance, our first hour initial balance. That will be a time to see if we are setting up for a pullback. And also 11 o'clock, beginning of the London close. Let's see if those are the three specific times we're looking for. I like to catch the momentum trades off the open if I can get them. And then from that point on, it's those 3 times, 10 o'clock, 10:30, and 11 o'clock are the time frames I want to look at to see what price is doing, if we could possibly either take a continuation trade or catch a pullback. The 9 has crossed the 200 on both NQ and ES, but the 21 is still below the 200, so uh, no continuation longs on those for now. All we would be looking for on those at the moment is just a pullback to grab a few points off of that. That would be coming, if we do get set up, probably coming back into one of those fair value gaps on the higher time frame. Because it does look like we're going to make that fair value gap. We got 5 more minutes, and it could come back down a little bit from here, but I'd like to see these fair value gaps being made so that we have something to pull back into if we get our setup for a pullback, which it is looking better and better on NQ. ES is getting there as well. And everything down here in the stochastics is getting nice and tight and bundled up. I do want to see it get up into the 90s before I would consider starting to look for that pullback. But we are getting up into that area. Do you want to see money flow above uh, above the orange line and staying there for a little bit? Still just a little bit low on money flow. Maybe a little bit more push up. Coming into the 10 o'clock time frame, we are starting to show a little bit of weakness on the lower time frame chart. And the higher time frame chart just a little bit, but 957. This isn't quite where I want it to be. Oh, I actually have an IRL meeting with one of my students today at the golf course. We're going to go hit the range, get a little golf practice in, then go sit down and eat lunch and go over his charts, go over his homework that I gave him for the weekend. Hey, I can move a chart around. I just can't click on. I just can't. Can't click on anything else. Bullshit. I gotta remember to turn the damn strategies off when I change charts or do anything on the charts, indicator wise or anything, because that is going to mess it up and have a strategy running. Causes the gremlins to come out and play. Okay, we can see a little consolidation here and then another push up, which would get us set up on the higher time frame, I think, for a good pullback. What have we had here? Let's see, this is another reason why I don't want. Okay, I can go left. There we go. One push up, two push up, three pushes up. Okay, so we do have our 3 legs on the lower time frame. A fourth or fifth leg is pretty much just gravy, which I would like to see a fourth leg up to get our stochastics on the higher time frame up where I want them to be before we get a pullback on the 2-minute chart. So, but we do have our consolidation up here at the moment. If we do start to turn around from down up here for that 10 o'clock pullback or 10 o'clock reversal, we're just not. I mean, we're almost there. I could probably be okay with taking a short there. Uh, I still would like to see us push up just a little bit more. But we do have a big wick there. We do have some consolidation. It's showing some weakness. So I could just want to, I'm going to have to see a power bar come down off of this consolidation that breaks back below. Now, again, my trades are also set up, my filters on my signals are set up for um, the SMAs have to be in alignment. So a little bit more consolidation to allow the 21 to come up into this area would be great before actually rolling over with a power bar, because the 9 is going to have to be below the 21 before my settings will print a signal for the bot to take a trade. And the way the markets are looking pretty healthy at the moment, um, I don't know if we'll get a big enough pullback to both reset the SMAs to short positions and get enough room for profit. Because again, we're going to be trading just a pullback uh, because the market has shown us that it's strong and it wants to go up. Any trade to the downside is just going to need to be a short, quick target trade. ES is setting up pretty good too. We could just have a pullback back to the pivot point, or a pullback to the 9 SMA. There we go. There's that nice little push up. There we go. Breaking the high there. ES is getting into a lot more liquidity up here. That's got us pretty well set up on the ES for a pullback, which we could, like again, we could pull back to this pivot point, which was that fair value gap that was made through the pivot point. But that makes a double top on this 2-minute chart. And we are at our 10 o'clock time. But just pulling back to the pivot point is not going to uh, get my SMAs set up for shorts on the 2-minute chart. So it would have to be a manual trade if I took it here, or I would have to go down to a smaller time frame, like the 30-second chart. Which we're not going to do because we know what changing the charts does when the strategies are on. So we'll see. We did get a pullback to the 9 here on the 10:02 candle, and then went and broke the previous high, so we're still looking at a pretty strong market. As of now, hmm, hmm. So now it's your time to sit back and be patient. Still got everybody in here. Cool. Tradify TV, Tradify TV. Yeah, I ain't worried about them. All right. When was our first Fed speaker coming on this morning? So that's pretty much all we have on news today is just Fed speakers coming on. 10 a.m. Okay, so that one is speaking at the moment. Barkin, I know he's a voting member. Moran, I'm not sure. Uh, and that's at noon. That's all we got today is Fed speakers. I would imagine Moran's a voting member since it's orange folder news instead of maybe Barkin's not a voting member. I don't know. I have to recheck all those. I tend to forget. All right. What's going on over here? We are getting set up as far as tests go for a pullback. We could pull back to the 200 and back to VWAP, which are sitting pretty close together on both the ES and the NQ. That would leave our super trend intact. So, yeah, how'd you do? Nice, nice. Yeah, I made money on the open momentum move on YM. Mm, I haven't gotten any reversal signals yet. They're set up. It's setting up for one, but I haven't got it yet. I don't know if you were still in your truck or not, but we did make money on the short on YM off the open. And then my YM chart locked up because I switched over to from minis to micros without turning the strategy off. And now my lower time frame chart is locked up on YM. So no more trades on YM, which is fine because I already made $300 on that account, and that's my Tradeify account. So I don't really want, I wouldn't be trading it anymore anyway. So looks like we might get a break through the 9 SMA on the 2 minute. Made money on YM off the open on the momentum move off to the downside. $300 on my Tradeify account. Uh, I haven't traded anything else yet, but I might start thinking about putting shorts on uh, NQ here. Or ES, one or the other. I just have to see if we break through that, break through the 21 there. We are at our 10 o'clock reversal time. Do like we've had our consolidation up here. We broke through the consolidation. And now we're coming down pretty good on the 2 minute and 6 minute. I'm going to go ahead and turn shorts on NQ. Um, Again, it's gonna have to take a minute because my SMAs have to get into alignment before it'll print a signal. But we're gonna see if this 10 o'clock reversal time works. The 9 and the 21 are still below the 200 on both NQ and ES, so this push up may be sustained. It may not. We may come back down to the 200 and to VWAP, which are tight together. Um, but that 10 o'clock turnaround could very well be a move back to retest the 200 and then continue back up for the day. We will have to see. We do have a little bit of a fair value gap that we've made here. We would have to get back through that one, which that was the first fair value gap of the day. So it's possible we don't get through it if the market's going to continue up. But that should give us enough resistance for the 9 to drop on the 2 minute chart and get into an alignment for a short. We can get one or two shorter time frame candles here fighting that 6 minute fair value gap to get back through it. Then the 9 SMA will be able to pull itself down a little bit. If we do stay above the 21 here on this shorter time frame, and we go to break the previous swing high, then we have a uh, good location here to take a continuation trade on NQ to the upside. And if that higher time frame fair value gap holds, that would definitely give us reason to take a color change off of the 21 on this lower time frame. the higher time frame, we could just possibly consolidate up here as well, waiting for the 9 and the 21 to catch up a little bit. So we'll have to take that into consideration as well. Ooh. The last candle was actually the yeah. I mean, I have targets on my ICT above the all-time highs with my deviations off of my manipulation moves, um, off the 4-hour chart. So I have targets above price, so it doesn't. Not. It's not as bad for me because I know where we could be going, which I fully expect us to get there, especially on YM. Uh, but on the shorter time frame, you know, on these 6 minute and 2 minute charts, the all-time high doesn't bother me. Mhm. Yeah, well, and being up around all-time highs is also where I reduce my expectations for a trade. I'm not looking for the bigger moves that I typically would if I were around all-time highs. I'm just looking to catch, depending on the asset, you know, 5 to 20 points and be out. hmm So the market showed strength so far this morning. Um, we do have a color, we could possibly have a color change here off of the lower time frame 21. I'm going to turn longs on NQ. The higher time frame had a fair value gap that we rebalanced, but we didn't invert. And now we're heading back towards the previous high. So I'm going to go ahead and turn longs on there and see if we can't get a continuation uh, off of this. If we don't, then we're possibly looking at consolidation on the higher time frame chart just to let the 9 and the 21 SMAs catch up to price and then look for a continuation at that point. Where was that? Yep, we are right up at the end of yesterday's price action at that swing high. So we've definitely taken out the Asia high. Mm, okay. Yeah. I'll always keep my trading view charts up just because they're They're so much easier for my ICT levels. And with all of the gamma X indicators on the Ninja charts, trying to mark out all the other stuff as far as time-based liquidity and ICT levels, it would just make my charts ridiculously stupid uh, as far as stuff on the charts. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because even those, I can turn the background off and just have the border on and the text on, and that's fine because I can see through that. Um, because I can turn the background opacity down on the master signal. Yeah, so I'm cool with that. It's just all the other stuff. I mean, I know I can turn off the delta nodes and all that because I don't use them anyway. Um, but just the actual riptide labels is what I need to get out of the way. Yeah. I mean, I know he's still working on Generator X, so like I said, my temporary workaround is just turn the offset to like 150. So on a 2 and 6 minute chart, they're not even going to show up when they print on the chart because they're way off space. Uh, so it's not a huge thing that needs to be worked on right now since I know he's busy with trying to get it, Generator X taking uh, indicator signals or indicator logic. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Right. Hmm. I'm gonna turn longs back on NQ here. Um, so from the open, yeah, from the open, we've had one push up. This is consolidation. We should get at least another push up here. Um, again, the fair value gap held. We've broken the previous swing high, and we should get a long signal here before too long. Uh, but being very careful because the higher time frame stochastics, getting another leg push up is going to send our stochastics into an area where a nice pullback could be possible. And again, I'm also still looking at the possibility that we could be consolidating here, waiting for the higher time frame SMAs to catch up. But the 9 SMA on NQ is breaking above the 200. Uh, the 21 is going to take a while, but that's just the nature of a higher time frame. But the market is looking strong, so I want to see at least a good 2 to 3 pushes up on the 6 minute chart before uh, we start to have any major pullbacks. So let's see if we can get a signal. We got a bullish shift on ES. Ooh. Yeah, there's not much coming out to the middle of the week. So, um, uh, would expect. I think Wednesday is our first big news announcement. Uh, so yeah, the market could set a good Monday range, uh, and then watch the Monday range, Monday's high and low, uh, for the movement on news on Wednesday. So we'll see, and we'll set the Monday high and low, and then watch Tuesday. If it stays within that range, then we'll be looking for the breakout on Wednesday on the news. That's always a really good setup. We get an inside bar on you. You have news on Wednesday, and you get an inside bar off of Monday's range on Tuesday. Then watch for the breakout of the Monday range when the news hits. So we did get a bullish shift on ES. We did not turn longs on ES, which we probably should have, since NQ and SMAs. I mean, it's all bullish shifts or bearish shifts, shifts, continue shifts, continuations, and power shifts is what I'm doing. But it's filtered. But it's filtered by the yeah, but it's filtered by the SMAs. So Riptide's filtered by SMAs. So the SMAs have to be in alignment before it'll print the signal. And we got that on. No, no, no. I keep mine pretty simple. Because I mean the background state's going to be the same. If it's green, then price is above the 21. If it's red, it's below the 21. Yeah, yeah, it already pretty much has to be in a trend before you can get a signal, which is nice, as long as the trend's going to continue. So, all right, NQ, come on, we need your signal. Already 3 point, would have been 3 points in profit on ES. Damn bars on NQ. Why couldn't you print a signal? Assholes. It would have hit our first target on ES. I think I've got it set at 5 points. No, the 200's below anyway. Yeah, no, I don't even have the 200 turned on. Oh, it just hasn't met all the requirements to print a signal yet because it's printed one previously. I have the signal on down here, so I would have expected maybe a continuation signal to already be printed, but again, I don't know the calculations on all that stuff, so I just let the indicators do its work. Oh, there we go. There's our bullish shift. Yeah, it printed. We're in a trade. Now, I am not 100% sure of my NQ settings because I haven't traded NQ in quite a while. So the trailing stop has already moved up a couple of ticks, though. Yeah, well, I mean, I've traded NQ a lot, but it's been a while. So setting the bot up for trailing stops and break evens and all that, I haven't done enough work on that to actually be confident that the trades are going to make money. Um, yeah, yeah. So it is what it is. I mean, I'll do some work on it now that I'm watching all the charts and get it to a point where I feel comfortable with the stop and the trailing stop on a 2-minute chart. Give it plenty of room to work uh, without losing too much money. Hmm. All right. So we took the trade at 94 even, so we're up. Uh, keep it holding. Okay. So that took the trade. Unfortunately, I can't check anything and see. I don't think that made it to break even. So that was probably a small loss. But I made the mistake of, I don't know if you were listening, I made the mistake of moving the YM charts to MYM while the strategy was still on. So it locked up NinjaTrader. Um, So it locked up the lower time frame YM chart and it locked up my control center, but it didn't lock any of the other charts up because they were already set. So I was able to take that trade on NQ, but I can't tell what it did to my account un- until I reboot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I would say that if this next candle goes up and breaks the 2 minute high, then my stop loss uh, placements were just off. I had too tight of a stop loss or too tight of a trailing stop, and that's fine because again, I'm only trading 5 micros. Kept a pretty tight stop. It was pretty close to break even if it wasn't at break even, so I lost very little on that trade if it was a loss. So the immediate stop loss is 40 ticks, which is 10 points, which is pretty tight for NQ. Uh, and then my trailing, yeah, is 20 ticks. I probably should have left that at 40 until we hit our first profit target. But see, that's the thing I can't change. So this would be good. This is also a good thing that I need to bring up with Doug. So I want my trailing stop to stay at my original stop until I hit target profit one, and then I want my trailing stop to be tighter than my original trailing stop. I don't know if we can do that. So say I want to take my first target profit at where is it? 40 ticks. Okay. But I want a trailing stop of 40 ticks until I get there. Once I get to 40 ticks, it hits target one. Now I want my trailing stop to be 20 ticks so that I'm locking in profit on the remainder. Okay. So break even if, well, break even goes at 40 ticks because that's where my first target profit is. And then, okay. So, so it should trigger, so it should trigger at 40 ticks instead of 4 and have the trailing distance as 20. That, okay, I understand that now. I got you. That should work. Yeah. All right. That should work. Okay. I just didn't put enough brain power into thinking about that. If you don't take any risk in life, it's no fun. If you don't take risk in life, it's no fun. Uh, all right, for the YouTube channel, I'm going to take a little break and turn my mic All right, so we are back, and we have turned on the bot on NQ for a reversal. So I'm looking for a pullback here. Uh, my higher time frame stochastics are all lined up really, really nice and tight up here, but in the 90 range. Um, so I am looking for a bit of a pullback here. We've had one run up, two runs up, three runs up on the lower time frame or on the higher time frame. So I think that puts us at four or five runs on the shorter time frame. So let's see if we can't get a pullback here and catch a trade. Uh, and what time is it? 11 o'clock. So it is one of our time frames that we are looking for price movement. And let's see if we get it. The long we took didn't quite work out because of our strategy on the bot. It was a little too tight on the trailing stop once it hit four ticks. So we've made our adjustments to that in the bot to uh, for a better stop loss strategy that should work a little bit better this time. So then I will have to, if we get this trade, it'll be the last trade of the day, and I will have to reboot Ninja to show the actual profit and losses on the accounts. But I won't have to reset up all the charts or all the bots. I'll just have to reboot and go into the accounts in the control panel to show profit and loss for the day. We do have a fair value gap up here to get through if we are going to have a little bit of a pullback. Uh, that's okay. We have a couple of fair value gaps below us. I'd like to see the first one on the 6-minute chart get inverted for the pullback and come down to the second one down here around 880s. Um, so that's kind of where I'm looking for a target is to come back down into around the 880 area. A little bit of consolidation here would be really nice uh, before we start dropping so the 21 can move back up, get up here a little bit. So it won't take as much of a down movement to get our 921 cross, which will give us the ability to print a short signal for the bot to take. If we did have our stop strategy correct on that bot, that last long signal we would have taken, or we did take, would have been a winning trade instead of a small loss. Um, so lessons learned on that, uh, which is fine. As long as the losses stay small, we're good. Hey, Meetsy girl, did you go outside? Did you go outside? Oh, hey, baby. Yeah, yeah, good girl. Uh, yeah, good, good girl. All right, go ask Nana for a treat. Oh, hey. Missed a couple of trades this morning, but we're looking for another one. Uh, let's see. Looking for a short here on the NQ. Um, and that will be our last trade for the day. We already made money on YM. Uh, oh, disable that. Menzel, if you'll do me a favor, I'm not sure if you know how to mute your mic down here in the bottom left. If you want to ask a question or anything, you're more than welcome to open your mic back up, but we are hearing your background noise. No problem, man. No problem. All right. Just to catch you up, we had a push down on YM right off the open, so I took the momentum trade there uh, for a quick profit, and we took a long at the 1036 candle um, on NQ off the signal, but I had my stop loss management a little too tight, and we got knocked out for a really small loss on that one. Um, so now I'm just kind of, uh, we are set up in an area up here to be able to get a pullback on my 6 minute chart for NQ. Is looking really nice for a possible pullback. So I've turned shorts on the bot um, to see if we can get that triggered to the downside. I mean, the market looks pretty strong for if we look from the open, that's 936, 924. There's the open candle. So if we put a box on our initial balance, um, okay, so from here, the low from the open to the 1030 candle, which would be this high here, and we pull that over. That's our initial balance. Now we've broken above the initial balance. So what I would be looking for is a pullback down to the initial balance to retest it. Um, and everything looks good for that. If we can get it to actually pull back and reverse to get down there. So let's see. We could even have a failed auction, which means we break back into the initial balance range, um, which would be even better, which would give our trade more room to work. But I think 94, that's 20, 30 points um, from where we're at. So we'll definitely have to see when we get to that stage if we actually get a trade um, to the downside where we need to get out of the trade to protect our profits. And then this will be the last trade of the day, and I will get myself ready to head down to St. John's Country Club for some range time. Looking forward to that. So for us to actually get a trade, we are going to have to get through this fair value gap uh, here on the 6-minute chart, which again, hopefully will give us just a little bit of resistance so that our 9 can fall over and cross the 21. And once that happens, then we are good to be printing short signals from there. So I don't mind a little bit of a hesitation here. I don't need it to go straight down. Uh, and we'll see when we get to this fair value gap if the market is going to come back and retest the initial balance or if it's just going to bounce off that fair value gap and continue higher. So, which also gives our SMAs time to work out a little bit before a signal is printed, which is nice because we don't want the signal to print and take a trade um, coming into these areas without seeing what it's going to do at those areas first. Uh, so if we come down and we hit this fair value gap uh, right around 912 and it immediately bounces and goes to make new highs again, then a signal hasn't printed because the SMAs aren't in alignment yet uh, for it to print a signal. But if we get, a little bit of consolidation, a couple of minutes of consolidation, and then a push through that gap, then our SMA should be aligned and we should get a signal to then trade down to the initial balance high when and the first line of the super trend. Now, I want to see price actually come back into the initial balance a little bit and hit this fair value gap down around the second line of the super trend. And that would give us enough room for a really nice profitable trade. But even a trade back down to initial balance, I think will be good enough to give us a profitable trade if we can get our SMAs in alignment fast enough before price moves too fast. Um, so the stochastics on NQ are starting to fall off a little bit, which is good. ES is all nice and bound up here. We'd like to see it start to fall off a little bit. Um, but NQ seems to be the leader today. So NQ falling first, ES should follow suit. We're not worried about YM or the Russell, so we already made our money on those accounts. So once we tap into this fair value gap, which we haven't quite done yet, but if we do tap into that fair value gap and we get a really strong power bar back to the high side off of the lower time frame 21, then we'll be turning the shorts off because that would be another color change off the 21. Now, am I going to take a long from there like I did last time? No, um, because we have been up in this oversold area on Stochastics for a little while now, you know, from about 1042. Um, and that's about 20 minutes of being up here in this area. So I really don't want to be taking any longs right now. The market's been nice and strong from the open. We've had our one pullback into this fair value gap, and then got our push up again. And we've had three good pushes up on the higher time frame chart. So I'm not really interested in taking any longs. Um, you know, we're still extended from the 9. We've gotten extended from the 200. The 21 still has not crossed above the 200 yet. Um, so we're in a position where longs are no longer an option for me, but because of the way the stochastics are set up, we are in a position to take a short. And this is working out really nicely with a little consolidation right here before that fair value gap for the 9 to roll over and get us in a position to actually take a trade here. Uh, mm, oh, host left. Okay. So what I'd really like to see is once the 9 gets close to, or even uh, it's not going to cross until price gets below it. But what I'd like to see is a power bar off of uh, this state here. Uh, you know, a little bit of consolidation that breaks below, a power bar down, and that will get us into a pretty decent position for a trade. Um, dun, 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 dun. All right, just watching who's coming in and out of the Discord there. All right, so we have hit the 2-minute 21. Um, if again, if we get that power bar up, we'll just turn shorts off and pretty much call it a day. I'm not looking for a trade anywhere else. Uh, this is the 11 o'clock hour, and I want to be done trading by noon anyway. If we get that consolidation between the 9 and the 21 here on the shorter time frame, which is nice, it gives them time to squeeze together just a little bit before we get that push down. And we just tapped into the fair value gap. Now, this is something I may have to start looking at for the reversal side of my trades. Um, Simply because that not exactly a power bar, but we did close, you know, below the previous swing low, and we closed below the 21. That probably would have printed a sell signal that I would not have minded taking. Okay. Um, so it's going to take us a couple more bars to actually get a signal here. which we should still get a little bit of resistance here that we're seeing because we're inside this higher time frame fair value gap, which is going to give us a little bit of resistance before we get through it. Um, and we may even get our power bar uh, here in another bar to actually get through that fair value gap. Okay, but we need the 9 to get below the 21 before generator will print a signal for the bot to take. So we're kind of hoping that price holds up just a little bit before it starts moving quickly for those to get into alignment because we don't have a whole lot of room to get deck down to initial balance. Okay. Um, in fact, we've only got about 10, 15, 16 points to get down there. So, which again is why I would want price to actually get below the initial balance again, at least for a moment, um, to give us a little bit more room to make some profit there. But we will have to be careful when price gets there to see what happens. Again, my stop losses are automatic. They trail automatically with the bot. So all I basically have to do, I don't have to have any emotions when price gets to that initial balance. The bot will do all the work for me without emotions, and we just let it run and do its thing. Looks like we are going to get a cross for the 9 and 21 possibly after this candle, as long as price stays down here below here. So um, that's looking pretty good. Price didn't shoot down on us too fast and get too far away from the SMAs before we get our signal, which is nice. Uh, Victor, what's going on? What's going on? Um, just to catch you up, Victor, everybody else has heard this a couple of times, but we did catch a momentum trade at the open on YM to the downside, made $300 on our Tradeify account. We took a long on NQ that would have been a winner, but I had my stop loss management in the bot a little too tight. We fixed that problem. We're now looking for a short to come back down on a pullback from the morning's push up. Um, I hear people going in and out like crazy, so I'm just checking to see. And Victor left. Okay, never mind. I will explain to Victor what I did then. Sorry, guys. I call it like I see it, but if you're going to come in to watch somebody trade, why are you coming in and then just jumping back out in 30 seconds? Um, yeah, so unless you have technical problems, then I can see it, but it happens all the time and I just don't get it. Um, if you're going to come into a live, if you're interested enough to come into a live and see what somebody's doing, then stick around for a minute. All right. We didn't get our cross on that candle. We certainly will get it on this candle. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we don't get a strong bar down until after this candle prints. And that would be the perfect time for to get our strong bar down to go through that fair value gap if we can get it here after they cross. We are still in a good, very, very good state. We have been up here above the oversold, overbought line for a good amount of time. So this is a really good setup. This is the setup that Doug takes a lot. Um, and watching him has helped me fi find reversals a little bit better or I should say, with higher probability. Um, and that's something that's always been pretty difficult for me. Continuation trades or momentum trades off the open, I, I'm very comfortable with and I have a very good system for. But finding these pullbacks that you can trade has been, you know, one of the banes of my existence since I've been trading, and Doug has really helped me out with that. Watching him trade his system because that's what he does. He trades reversals. He trades pullbacks. So uh, I really, really like what I've seen from him, which is why I've set up my charts the way I have, um, so that I can not only catch those reversals, but it's easier when you see what the entire market's doing. Um, all right, we have crossed, so I would like to see a little bit of a decent sized bar here, um, to get us through this fair value gap and get us a short signal to be able to take a trade off of. So what I say, initial balance was right around 895. That's going to be right down in here. So, if we do get a signal, we don't have a lot of space here before we get down to the initial balance high. We could bounce off of that and continue higher. Um, we did get really close to this pivot point here on the NQ. Um, Typically, I don't like to go short until we tap it and push off of it. But with the other confluences I have on the chart, um, with the stochastics, I'm okay with taking a short here, looking for a pushback into initial balance, and then rising up because our uh, higher time frame 9 EMA is sitting at 881, which would give us down to here for a trade, okay, before getting to the 9 SMA. And the market is strong, so I would expect the higher time frame to bounce off the 9 EMA on the higher time frames to then start moving higher again. Okay, there's our signal. So we will be entering a trade at the end of this candle. As far as all my other levels, we're not in a fantastic place for a trade as far as the levels go, but time and price action is lining up correctly, so I am okay taking the trade. Um, because a lot of times the algorithms uh, will do what they need to do, and a lot of retail traders will get in trouble because they are looking at the levels that price is at, where the algorithm doesn't care about the levels, it cares about where price gets to. Um, so I found that to be a true case, and one of the reasons why retail traders like ourselves get into losses. Because if I was just looking at levels, price levels, fair value gaps, initial balances, I would not be wanting to take a short here. But that doesn't mean that the algorithms don't want price to come down to the 9 EMA before reversing on the 6-minute chart. Um, are you going to tell me you're not getting in that trade? It did not get in the trade. Why? It did reset that. My generator turned on? Yeah, the generator's turned on. Alright, well, we're just going to do it this way then. Oh, okay. We're already on. Shit, I did that. Alright, let's see what happens when we get up to the 21 here. I am going to sell there. Okay. Gotta love it when we do that. I'm okay with that. I have a little bit different strategy on my actual NinjaTrader uh, buy and sell buttons. And I'm on YM ATM strategy instead of NQ because I accidentally erased. They're not very much different. I use pretty much the same ATM on all assets when I use the NinjaTrader buy and sell buttons. So would definitely like to see a pushback off the 21 here to go to the downside. Uh, and break back through the 9 to the downside. We did rebalance that fair value gap and we're still above it. So we didn't actually get our push down through it and we're back above it. So we'll have to see what happens here. Um, but that candle did get through it, which gives us the ability to get back down there. But the fact that it rebalanced and kind of went higher isn't the best situation for this trade. Now our trailing stop is starting to move. Oh, wait, come on, get back below the 9. Would give me a little bit more confidence in the trade, but our risk has been reduced a little bit. The 9 does seem to be falling back down, but that doesn't mean that it's going to stay down there. We haven't broke back through it and closed below it yet, so that is still a little concerning. I'd like to see us hit our first target profit at least. Stochastics are still falling, so far so good. Just see if our risk management is too tight here. Yep, it was. All right, I would have much rather the bot have taken that, and I'm not going to blame it on the bot, just simply because I know um, things are a little bit messed up on my NinjaTrader uh, when this chart locked up because of the changes I made uh, with a strategy on. So at the moment, I'm not gonna blame anything on the bot on that. I'm gonna have to just double check everything. Um, so everybody, hold on for a second. I am going to close down NinjaTrader and reboot it so that we can see what our profit and loss was for the day. Okay. Let's see. That still didn't do anything. We're going to shut this down. All right, and we will pop it right back up. Okay, let's turn on my other connection for my Tradeify. All right, so on that account, we lost $181 today. That's not bad. That last trade was actually two minis on the NQ. So the trailing stop on that definitely helped us out a little bit. We did not reach our daily loss limit, which I set for about $200 um, on any given account. So we lost 181 on that account, but we did make $300 on the Tradeify account on YM this morning. So we were in a drawdown on that. We got some of that back, and um, we were in a profit on this account, uh, the ETF account. So we're still above 50,000, and we've only used up $181 of our drawdown there. So not a bad day all in all. Um, these this loss I'm going to just accept for myself as technical errors. Okay, this wasn't not uh, not taking bad setups. All the setups were good. The trades were good. They're trades I would have taken at any for any other reason or any other time. Um, I'm going to put those on technical errors. I'm going to have to investigate the last trade that the bot didn't take and see why that happened. If it was something that I did, or if it was something that just happened to mess up uh, inside of Ninja because of the technical stuff that was going on. Now, we did get a couple of trades after the technical lockup on the YM chart on NQ, so I'm curious as to why the bot did not take it uh, the second time. Um, but I will definitely look into that and see what happens. But as far as profit and loss goes today, I'm very happy. Overall, it was $120 profit between both accounts. But as long as we're moving, you know, our accounts in the right direction, I'm not so worried about the money at the moment. Um, so pretty good morning. We were patient. We took the trades that we needed to take, and we got good results, and at the very least, some good learning uh, points on the bot and generator X, and just controlling our charts overall. Don't change your charts, asset class, or time frames while you have a strategy running. I think that is a lot of the reason why Ninja will lock up a chart. Um, and I knew that because of in back testing. If you go to a different time on the chart or you change anything on the chart while you have the strategy on, you have to completely reset everything to get it working again. And I knew that, but it just slipped my mind in the live environment. Um, so I appreciate everybody stopping in this morning. Um, I will be on again tomorrow. Um, Trading in the morning, and I do this here in Discord and on my YouTube channel. Um, so, yeah, Sam, appreciate you. Glad to have you in here in the mornings. Hope things are helping. And again, anytime you have any questions, you can ask here in the lives or just ping me, um, either in general or send me a DM. I'll be more than happy to talk about anything you want to talk about. But for now, I'm going to shut it down, everybody. I have some golf practice to go mess with. and we'll see everybody tomorrow.